the artist NeYo got in trouble for speaking out against, like, got in trouble by the left for speaking out against, gender ideology. And so here's what he said.
Parents have almost forgotten what the role of a parent is.
Amen.
It's like, okay,
Lost control.
If your little boy comes to you and says, "Daddy, I want to be a girl," and you just let him rock with that,
Right.
He's 5.
Right. And where did he get that from?
If you let this 5-year-old boy decide to eat candy all day, he's going to do that.
Exactly.
Like, when did it become a good idea to let a 5-year-old, let a 6-year-old, let a 12-year-old make a life-changing decision for themselves?
Right.
When did that happen?
Right.
Like, I don't understand that. I don't get that.
And to medicate these young kids that are 5, 6 growing up and knowing that it affects their brain, it affects their organs, it makes them sick, but they're not allowed to do drugs, they're not allowed to do alcohol.
Right.
But we can medicate them.
He can't drive a car yet, but he can decide his sex.
Right. Right. What sex orientation, and he can cut off his pee-pee, and that, to me, that makes no sense whatsoever.
I don't know if this is true, but I heard a rumor that they either passed or are trying to pass a law in LA that states if your child comes to you and asks to do some of these things and you say no, they can take your kid from you.
Yeah, that's true. Just passed in California.
That makes no sense.
They want us to have no control over our children.
I don't get it.
In schools,
I don't get it.
Hospitals, libraries.
Yeah.
They just want to manipulate. You got to understand, when they're so young and they're already, that's
impressionable.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
And from them, they're going to believe what you say. I mean, we say Santa Claus is real, the Easter
and they
Bunny.
Believe it. Like,
right, exactly.
Like,
they know what they're doing.
Remember who you're dealing with. Like, I can't take credit for it, but I heard somebody say one time, it's like, all right, if your son comes to you and says, "Daddy, I want to be a girl," ask your son, "Son, what is a girl?"
That's a good one.
What is he going to do? He's going to say, well, he might want to play with dolls. All right, you want to play with dolls? Fine, play with dolls.
Right.
But you're a boy playing with dolls.
That's right.
I want to wear pink. All right, cool, wear pink. But you're a boy.
That's right.
Wearing pink. No issue with the LBG. I have no problem with with nobody. Okay,
Right.
Love who you love, do what you do.
Exactly.
I just personally come from an era where a man was a man and a woman was a woman, and it wasn't but two genders, and that's just how I rocked.
Me
now,
too.
You could identify as a goldfish if you feel
right.
I agree. Care. That ain't my business. It becomes my business when you try to make me play the game with you. I'm not going to call you a goldfish, but you want to be a goldfish, you go be a goldfish. It's all
Amen.
Good. I mean, it's just, we live in a weird time, man. We do.
Trigger
warnings. What the hell is a trigger warning?
Yes, exactly.
It's just.
Yeah. I mean, I don't see anything wrong with what he said in that situation. Like, he's right. Like, that's the way that society has become. And it's really interesting. So he even says, like, boys are boys, girls are girls. And if you go and watch my after show the last time I was on Timcast, I agree with exactly what he said. Because what we talked about on that after show was that trans women are a subsection of men, because they are. Otherwise, you don't have definitions, because a man is an adult human male. But we present to society as something different based on stereotypes of the opposite sex and based on how we feel comfortable presenting ourselves. It's not simply just gender nonconformity, because there's levels of gender nonconformity, right? There's gender nonconforming males who wear girls' clothes or wear, more feminine clothing. And then there's people who it's based on secondary sex characteristics that give them gender dysphoria, and they transition to alleviate that gender dysphoria. So there's a lot of different stuff, but I am one of these people that would say that trans women are a subsection of men, which is exactly what he's talking about. Like, what is a girl? A girl is an adolescent human female. Males can't be female. So if that gets me kicked off YouTube, and actually I'm streaming on Facebook tonight too, so I'm guessing could happen. I don't care. Like, we'll see what happens, but you can't change your sex. You can't erase biology. And I think if more people accepted that, then we wouldn't be in a lot of the situations that we're in today. And yeah, John, so that law passed. So if that law passed, society is done. Like, yeah, like California is passing laws. They passed a law earlier this legislative session that said that if you run away to California, so if you're a child and you run away from another state without your parents, then you basically become wards of the state of California, and they don't have to give you back to your parents because your parents are supposedly transphobic. Yes, those are the laws. Anywhere you hear that they are a sanctuary state for, gender transition issues, that is what they're talking about. So California is not the only one that's passed these laws. I think Minnesota, Oregon, actually, I believe I think in one of my earlier episodes we talked about this, but if you look, there was a law passed, and it was mostly around abortion, but it was talking about children having autonomy to be able to make the decisions over their body at the age of 8 to 10. Like, the question that was raised was, can a 10-year-old, consent to an abortion? And basically the person had admitted that they could in the hearing, which is insane. It's insane to think that children can make these decisions. We have like age of consent laws for reasons, because children do not understand the full ramifications of their decisions. And that's why children can't consent to these sex changes. But I digress. So originally, NeYo had posted on now X. I'm going to continue to call it Twitter. How's that? I already said I'm going to. So Twitter. He said, I mean, people, they came after him. Pop Craven came out and said he's transphobic, misogynistic. Hit pieces. One person said, damn, I didn't know NeYo was transphobic. Let me go block him on Spotify. And so NeYo's account on Twitter said, after much reflection, I'd like to express my deepest apologies to anyone that I may have hurt with my comments on parenting and gender identity. I've always been an advocate for love and inclusivity in the LGBTQI plus community. So I understand how my comments could have been interpreted as insensitive and offensive. Gender identity is nuanced, and I can honestly admit that I plan to better educate myself on the topic so I can approach future conversations with more empathy. At the end of the day, I lead with love and support everyone's freedom of expressions and pursuit of happiness. So John says they are quietly destroying the family integrity, making parents scared of their kids. I'm going to my best to change things, Sara. I have plans and visions and purpose. Good. That's what we need. So this is the thing. You're absolutely right. What they are doing, this is what is a postmodern neo-Marxist society. In a Marxist system, you don't control your children's actions, right? Because they need your children to be wards of the state in order to indoctrinate them into their ideology and make them producers for the quote unquote greater good. And so that is the Marxist aspect of what they are doing here. That's why queer theory, critical race theory, all critical theories are based in postmodern neo-Marxism. And their overall goal is to make your children wards of the state, to take away parental rights, make you basically a caregiver, but you have no rights to control what they do or do not do. And so this is just the first step, maybe the second step in doing that. Now, maybe an hour or so before I came on the air, I saw this, and it looks like we did definitely update our story, because NeYo actually made a statement saying that he doesn't agree. He doesn't agree because it was his publicist that wrote that apology. So here's what he said.
What's going on, loved ones? This is NeYo. All right, listen. I normally don't give too much of a damn about what y'all think about what I do, what y'all have to say about what I say, whatever. I normally don't care because, like I said, opinions ain't special. Everybody got one. However, this is something I feel very strongly on, and I need y'all to hear this from the horse's mouth, not the publicist's computer. So check this out. First and foremost, I do not apologize for having an opinion on this matter. I am a 43-year-old heterosexual man raising 5 boys and 2 girls, okay? That's my reality. Now, if my opinion offended somebody, yeah, sure, I apologize for you being offended because that wasn't my intention. My intention is never to offend anybody. However, I'm entitled to feel how I feel. I'm absolutely entitled to feel how I feel the same way you are entitled to feel how you feel. I ain't asked nobody to follow me. I ain't asked nobody to agree with me. I was asked a question, and I answered the damn question, okay? I have no beef with the LGBTQIA plus community whatsoever.
So there you go. I mean, this is where it's interesting because he did he change his opinion because he realized that it didn't matter if he apologized or not, that he was going to get hate from people either way, or was it his publicist?